So, what if I told you that one of the greatest minds in all of history used a kind of hidden system, a way to make his ideas grow exponentially? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unlock in this explainer. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a pretty bold claim, right? But we're not just talking about someone who had a few good ideas. We're talking about a specific process they used to make those ideas connect, grow, and build on each other to create something that would last for centuries. So the big question is, who was this person who didn't just think great thoughts, but actually built an entire architecture for them to flourish in? Well, let's dive in and find out. But first, before we can reveal the architect, we really need to understand the engine that powered their work. What in the world is intellectual compounding? Okay, so here's the core of it. It's this process where your knowledge doesn't just add up piece by piece, it actually multiplies. Every new thing you learn, every new idea you have, connects to what you already know, creating this incredible, ever-expanding web of understanding. The best way to think about it is like financial compounding. You know, you earn interest, and then that interest starts earning its own interest, and before you know it, your growth curve just shoots upwards. Well, intellectual compounding is the exact same principle, just for your mind. Ideas connect with other ideas, they create new insights, and those insights spark even more ideas. That's where the exponential growth comes from. All right, so we get the concept. It's powerful, it's exponential. So let's get back to our central mystery here. Who was this architect who so perfectly mastered the art of mental compounding? And that brings us to section 2, revealing the architect, the identity of history's great compounder.
Benjamin Franklin. You know, when you stop and think about it for a second, it makes perfect sense. Of course, this is the guy. He wasn't just a founding father or the face on the $100 bill. He was a true intellectual powerhouse, and he was fueled by a really unique system.
And this is exactly why he's our perfect example. Franklin was a statesman, a scientist, a writer, an inventor. The list goes on. But see, this diversity wasn't some kind of distraction for him. No, it was the very fuel for his compounding engine. So, how did he actually do it? Let's take a look at the blueprint he used, the real nuts and bolts of his method. And what's amazing is that it really boils down to this elegant and incredibly powerful three-step system. First, gather diverse inputs. Second, create constant connections. And third, iterate in public. Let's break each of these down. Okay, so step 1 was all about gathering fuel. Franklin was just endlessly curious. He never stayed in his lane. One day he's studying electricity, the next it's ocean currents, then political philosophy, then printing techniques. He created this massive, diverse base of knowledge that he could draw from at any time.
But here's where the magic really starts to happen. He didn't just hoard facts like a collector. Step 2 was all about creating constant connections. He'd take what he learned about electricity and connect it to public safety, which gave us the lightning rod. He'd take ideas from his reading clubs and apply them to civic governance. It was this constant cross-pollination of ideas that led to his most brilliant inventions and insights.
And finally, we get to step 3, and this one might just be the most important of all. He iterated in public. Franklin knew that an idea kept in isolation just goes stale. So he formed the Junto Club, this group for mutual improvement, where he would debate and discuss his ideas. He published his thoughts in Poor Richard's Almanac. He literally put his ideas out into the world to be stress-tested, to be challenged, and ultimately to be improved by other people. So we've seen Franklin's system, but what about us? How can we apply this? This is where it gets really interesting. Just think about the public library. Back in 1731, Franklin started a small subscription library. A pretty simple idea, right? But it was shared, it was iterated on, and it compounded. That little idea inspired a national movement. And today, there are over 116,000 public libraries all around the world, all tracing their roots back to that one small compounded idea. And that really gets to the key takeaway here. A monumental legacy, a massive impact. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It starts with small, consistent efforts. Reading one more book, making one more connection, sharing one more idea. These are the little nuts, the tiny seeds that grow into those great oaks. Which brings us right to our final thought. Benjamin Franklin used this system to build a legacy that fundamentally changed the world. But his tools, gathering diverse knowledge, making new connections, and sharing your ideas, they're available to every single one of us. So the real question is, what knowledge, what idea, what legacy will you start compounding today?